The podium going to look like today, chat? Let me know in the chat. I'll read out some of them as we get further into this race. If I'm calling it here, I think this is still Get On to win. I've doubted him, but I shouldn't. The lights are on then. We can see the whole grid ready to get going in Bahrain.
I believe we, particularly you,
very delayed, but
that's an incredible window of opportunity.
Yep, and he's reversing on the grid. And now he's away. There the AI has decided it's time to go. Everyone else is going to be sat still. There we go. We finally get started. Iggy has rejoined, and that is going to be a nice clean start from Ghetto. And we've got the Williams there trying to slip down the inside of everybody. This is huge for him. How is he going to be able to make this work though throughout? He's going alongside an AlphaTauri. That is Chan. He's actually kept it clean enough. And there's a three-way battle going between Yolta and the Racing Points. He does lose out in the end. And Tomek hasn't really gained.
I want to throw out that I'm a prophet once more. Yolta even had lost 4 positions at the first turn, as I said he would. And I'm just going to get my lottery tickets on.
Yeah, I mean, you did say Tomek was going to jump to the top 10 by the time we got to turn 1, so it's not entirely.
No, I said the end of lap 1, so I've still got time.
Yeah, well, he's got P15, we'll see later on. But here comes Felix, has gone past Yonti. Nice, clean, around the outside overtake through turn 8. Hard braking zone now into turn 9 and 10. But the exit that he needed, his teammate is ahead of him, so they could actually work together here.
Different strategy, they kind of pulled through.
Zone's going for race lead here on Get On. It's going to be a drag race up towards turn 1. There's no DRS just yet. That is next lap, but it looks like Zones has done the maneuver to get himself race lead. Get On will be P2. Yonti has DRS. Yonti has ERS. Yonti has priority here, but he has the outside line. It's going to be difficult to make it. He's just got his full car ahead of him. I think Dennis might be able to recover this, and to think that Yonti's on the hard compound tyre, the grip is so much better for Dennis, and Yonti holds him back. There's a Huni that's still in the DRS as well, but it's not going to be close enough for him. But Tomek goes deep into turn 1. It's going to be hard. Rick is on contact into Dennis, which has also caused Yonti to get rotated, and he has fallen down to P15 as a result. Ah, man, it was a very ambitious move there from Tomek, and he's actually currently working on Dennis because he's getting himself up into P11, but Dennis is trying to stick it around the outside. Tomek is surely going to get this done now because the exit is much better and more favoured to him, but I'm game that he's got now on Get. Oh, no! Oh, that's a big dive there from Yonti. It was a mistake made. That wasn't actually an overtake. That was just him getting caught sleeping. He saw how late he was braking. I don't know, he just maybe fell asleep at the wheel or something, but that was a very awkward contact between him and Vanya. And now Huni's through. Get On is looking for a line down the inside as well. No, this is going to be a massive contact as well, straight into the side of Vanya. Surely that's a bit too deep. The McLaren drivers have got massive balls about them today, and I feel like whatever balls they've got are maybe too weighted because they're getting a little bit too desperate and a little bit too aggressive. And again, he's going in towards curve 4. He's locked up, but he's just about kept it clean. He pushes Vanya off the circuit, gives him a 3-second time penalty. I imagine the stewards will probably remove that, or at least that warning, because that was a bit too much, a bit too aggressive from Get On. Oh, it's it. Oh, Vanya's losing the rear because he's getting touched from Huni, and there's contact as well. That's Yonti getting contacted. There's Vanya. He's lost the control because of the rotation. He falls down the road.
Felix making a big dive towards the outside there. He's now got the inside there.
Oh, no!
Wheels, and Chan is now spun out. What would you say roughly is the time lost here for this?
Oh, not sure, but Rainbow's going for a move here on Copy. That's never going to happen. You're too far back to make that work. He's gone into the back of Copy. He's still scrapping. He gets sent off the circuit there, and he's actually again fighting with Copy once more. Rainbow's making some ambitious maneuvers, and you can see that dive coming from a way off, and he's still coming again in towards turn 4, but this time Copy actually knows once Tomek has got this move done on Copy, which he's trying to do now into the final corner. Copy gets pushed onto the curb. Once more, there is a train from Felix all the way back And there's a yellow flag. Who's that? That is a Ferrari. That is Huni. He's made a mistake on the turn 4. As Tomek has gone for a move here on the inside of Yolta. He's just about made that work. He's up to P5 now. He's compromised a little bit, but I will hold Top Tom back. And in just this lap alone, Zones has gained 6/10 as Top Tom realizes what's happening. He knows it's time to get a move on. He's got the move done in towards turn 1, I think, unless Get-On can get the cutback of Dreams. And now Get-On is going to start getting can. He's going to fight in every corner he can get. He's going to go side by side through turn 4, but it's going to be Get-On who's going to be losing out, it looks like, for now. Top Tom still going at it, maybe on the second to last straight. Or maybe here, Get-On is actually going to back out. He has decided right now, in the most awkward position on the circuit, he's decided right now is the best time to do it. But the gap is
fastest tile. It's not a comfortable position to be in. And here's Tomek just sliding on by, and I imagine he's just going to
towards turn 1. It's going to be a hard line for him to hold this one down as Get-On has cruised on past. It's realistically down to Top Tom to defend coming in towards turn 1. Can he get that maneuver done? He's not. He's going to have to get the exit of Dreams here, but he's got no ERS to work with. He's going to get DRS coming through turn 3 into turn 4, but the gap looks like it's a bit too much. I don't have that telemetry to tell me for sure, but Top Tom is now realistically in trouble as Zones, he comes across the line. He played that perfectly to secure the P1. Tomek, who tried the almost last to almost first, and he gets the P2 in the bag. Get-On will take the third step of the podium with Top Tom, who tried his best, and as much as he tried, he could not secure it. A P4 is where he finishes. Felix gets P5, Yolta crosses the line P6, but he falls to P7 due to penalties as Danico jumps him up into P6. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round 3 of the Rwagnation League Season 5 here in Vietnam. It's the Hanoi Street Circuit, and we saw it in the F2 cars. We know how crazy and chaotic it can be. I'm Ben Ragger McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is the awesome Hon Badger. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, yeah. Here we are in Vietnam. First time we've came here for Darnell. Excited to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, this is the second time I've commented on this circuit here. 23 turns, 3.4 miles in total. There's enough DRS sections here to make a few stirs in the mix here. And obviously, there's going to be one major one. That's going to be the longest straight there, which will charge into it. This is the championship standings as it stands. Get-On has had 2 fantastic races and secured himself the lead of this championship, but he's only 12 points ahead, so it's not done and dusted yet. You've got Brownie there in P2, Zones P3, Tomek P4, Yena P5, Top Tom P6, and I didn't catch the rest, but Danico's got the best of the rest, and we've got a fair few people there who've not yet scored points, both of which of the Alphas are not scoring any points. That's a bit concerning. In terms of the constructors, though, McLaren obviously are winning because it's 73 points for them. They've got quite a large lead ahead of Renault. We only have one of their main drivers here today. We have. What is the podium going to look like today? Looped that by accident. Yeah, we do have Brownie here, or Felix as he's known, and also their reserve driver of Hammer Time. So whether or not he's practiced this or not, I'm not sure because I didn't see any message from Yolta to suggest that he wasn't going to be here today. So I think this is a last-minute fill-in from Renault team. Still a chance for some points to be scored. We saw in the first race in the F2s how it can be quite chaotic and sometimes even a few DNFs. We might see some safety cars in here as well, which would be even more interesting. And I think the strategy, with it being the first time that this has been raced on before, we're not quite sure exactly what that strategy is going to look like. I've been told that soft mediums is doable, but not all drivers will be able to do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's put the practice in. you know, we usually we can trust Tomic to have done a lot of practice, but I don't. I mean, he's been away for a bit, so I don't know if he's going to be having done all the practice that he usually would do. So I guess we'll see on that one, and yeah, the different strategies might come into play. I mean, we usually see some idiot as well try an alternate strategy to everyone else. So and we definitely know that he will have absolutely practiced that to work out exactly when he can come in and do the do. So we'll see what he can do.
So I would say that honestly, when it comes to practice, some of the most practiced drivers, I'm looking at Brownie, I'm looking at some idiot, I'm looking at Yenab. These guys are literally day in, day out, are in this game, practicing, trying to improve and seek out any sort of tenets they can find, but also find any strategy plays they can make. But with all that in mind, I'm going to ask you, what is your top 3 prediction?
Last week, Tomic seemed really confident, so I'm going to throw him up P1. Get Owned, I know as well, does a lot of practice. He's been impressing. McLaren right now are storming away at the front. So I'm going to say that it's going to be McLaren 1-2, Tomic, Get Owned, and then Top Tom in P3.
McLaren look to be incredibly strong at the moment. They just seem to be head and shoulders above everybody as it stands. But I don't know. Top Tom gave him a really good run last week. Obviously, Tomic had to come from the back of the grid because of his crazy tyre choice when it came to that race. Whether or not he's going to try that again here today, obviously the only person who knows that is him, really. We're going to have to see what he attempts. But we can guarantee, though, that he's going to be very quick because, having spoken to him prior to this race, he tells me he actually really enjoys this circuit, and he has already done a league race here as well, so he has that to his advantage. Well, just how big of an advantage that is, only time will tell. Speaking of times, Yenab is on a hot lap right now, and he's going to be the first driver, it looks like, to get a time on the board.
Yep, and as you say that, I don't think the strategy really last week for Tomic was intended. I think it was more he attempted something and it didn't work, and he ended up just making the most of a kind of bad situation. But you know, still managed to get away with P2, which is really impressive.
Now, we did see rain in the F2 races. I've not yet had the weather forecast. Maybe we can get that pop up on the screen in just a short while. However, it's dry right now on the circuit. There's not a cloud in sight, which makes me think that it's going to be dry throughout the remainder. Yenab puts the first time on the board. That is a 133.226. And I didn't see, but I imagine the Williams are going to give each other the toe. They've timed this just right here where somebody is going to be chasing Yenab down that whole long back straight. And it's also a shame that Yolta's not here, because if he was, you can almost guarantee the Renaults were going to do it too.
Yep, the Renaults definitely have done this in the past, but you know, Hammer Time coming in as a reserve, you would imagine that's something that they've worked on as well. Brownie will have tried to work with Hammer Time and hopefully get them to, you know, work together in the same way that it would normally have. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're definitely giving each other the toe here. This is where the most time will be gained. There's no DRS. Oh, maybe it's just... oh, they've only just activated, of course. They didn't even get to the activation time in time. There goes Yenab out of the way. That's allowed some idiot to go through. I am currently sending the wrong... I've just been asked to send Brooke an invite because he appears to be having issues reconnecting. But there we go. An invite has been sent. He should be able to get back in. Perfect timing, as that is. Zones has put himself on pole. Bear in mind, a 132.398. And actually, he's somebody I've completely overlooked. This guy has been incredibly fast over the last few races. Last season, he looked like he was really struggling. I don't know, maybe it's just that in comparison, when everybody else was using line and he wasn't using line, he was like being held back a little bit. Now he's been set free. Suddenly he's become god tier again.
Yeah, it was a very, very impressive drive last week. Obviously missed the first race, so not sure if he's just incredibly good at the last track. So I mean, it looks like he's replicating that pace now. He's a couple of tenths in front of Tomic, which, you know, we know how fast a driver he is. So yeah, Zones is doing really well, and I would love to see him kind of be the Max Verstappen of this league, trying to take the fight to the McLarens.
Well, yeah, exactly that. It would need to be that because right now the McLarens look like they're untouchable. They've had 2 fantastic races. No one was able to get anywhere near them. Top Tom gave them a good bash, like I say, in Bahrain. But that was all it effectively was. There was nothing more that anybody could do. We do have Vexit, who's bringing himself back into the pits, it looks like. We have Safso, who's the only Haas driver here today, as Yonti's not been able to arrive. He's currently out and about. Socializing, who would have thought it?
Shocking behaviour, that. Absolutely shocking. Socialising on a Saturday night.
I know.
Never heard of it.
It's not like Saturday's a prime time, get owned. Oh, that is not the way to get the exit you need. Through the final corner, he gets very aggressive on the throttle. I actually want to go on board with him throughout this entire lap to see how he does as he brakes hard in towards turn 1. You want to clip that inside apex. He's missed it and locked up on left-hand side. It shouldn't affect his lap time too much because it's a very slow corner and the exit there isn't actually that crucial. Here then, with an awkward chicane to get onto a DRS straight, or isn't straight as there is a bit of a kink on the left and right-hand sides. And then the awkward braking zone again. This is actually, the whole track is just awkward. That's how I describe it. Right before the 100-meter board, you want to brake, get over that curb, and then get over the next. Don't cut it too hard, otherwise that happens, and you invalidate your lap.
Yep, and here comes Tomek out the pits as well now. He's wanting to try and get onto the top of those timesheets, so he's just making his way around the kind of roundabout section and working down this very, very long back straight, and we'll see what he's able to do when he starts his flying lap.
Been asked to send another invite. Yep. Right. Okay, I'm just keeping an eye around everybody. There's a Ferrari that's just jumped out of the way there for Higgsy. Higgsy looks like... I mean, there was not an impede there. I didn't see any sort of impede from Higgsy's perspective. Maybe he just felt uncomfortable with that run through the corners. And has decided to just back out and go again later. Maybe his run was severely hindered some way, but surely that was all self-inflicted if that was the case.
Yeah, that would be... It's a bit strange for that one, but, you know, Hunie's just getting the move done now and just getting on with it. Tried to get out of the way for him, and not really much he can do after if they back out the lap afterwards.
I'm also looking, actually, at the Williams. So somebody has just come out of the pits, and it looks like he's setting himself up for a tow on his teammate. Yeah, look, he's already backing off because he knows how crucial it is for the next long left-hander. We'll see now if this tow is actually going to be that effective. In terms of the gap, it's a massive gap, almost a full second between Yenab and Zones, who's our current pole sitter. So the tow is going to need to generate a hell of a lot of time, as here comes Yenab. It's going to be... Oh, he's invalidated. Oh, no. That's not going to help him. So now it's going to be wait and give some idiot the tow.
I'm just watching Tomek here coming through this Sector 1. He's absolutely nailing it so far by the looks of things. A little bit of a twitch, but it shouldn't have lost him any time.
I think Tomek is looking set here to bring his time ahead now of Zones. I've not got the telemetry to hand. I'm going to see it. Oh no, that looked like he just clipped the wall on the outside. I don't know. And Yenab's pointing the wrong direction. Okay, interesting. It didn't impede Tomek at all though, which is good news for Tomek, but that would have scared him with just a touch. A little bit unstable coming off that curb there, but shouldn't have cost him any time at all. This is the fun bit. This is the bit that he shows how good he actually is here. He's gone through just nicely. Oh, this is tight. This is tense, but this is good.
Yes, so far so good. This has been a very good lap.
Here he comes then around the final corner up to the line, and it's pole. It's a 132.268. It is just ahead of Zones, who is out on a lap right now. Can he retaliate? Can he move himself further up? Was his teammate first that's coming up to the line, as he is out on a hot lap. He's done a 134.620 previously. Can he improve that and get himself into the 33s? It's going to need to be a massive improvement if he's going to achieve that. But there's the 1, there's the 2, and here's the 3. It is into the 33s, but it only moves him up to P10.
So I was just looking at the telemetry data there from Tomek, and he's 0.3 down in Sector 3 compared to Sorry, 3/10 up in Sector 3 compared to Zones there. But Zones is just that little bit tighter in Sectors 1 and 2, and that's why it's kind of so close between them. But that's an incredible final sector he's put in. He's literally just flew through there.
I remember when I first started racing with zones, I was able to see just how insanely quick this guy is. And he is just demonstrating that he is esports level. He can easily perform at esports level when he puts his mind to it, when he practices hard. Which is fantastic to see. I want to see more of that. And here he comes then around the final corner, but that's not the way to do it. He's lucky to still keep his car alive. I think he was on a new pole there.
I think he just messed up, to be honest. In the final sector, he used up all the ERS he was allowed for the lap, and so it was flashing. He didn't have anything to get him through the final 2 turns, and that would have been costing him time. But yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. It certainly would have been close.
I find that interesting though. I don't know how you can, because you can't change the ERS modes in this. You can have them on or off in the qualifying. So I don't understand how he's burnt that much ERS, unless that's just something everybody's facing. In fact, let's have a look at Copy, who's on his hot lap as well. He's actually just run out now on the final corner. He's just clipped the wall as well. He will move up to P7. It is marginally a problem for him though. If he has lost that bit of time because of that contact with the wall, I mean, it was, yes, it might have been a couple of hundredths of a second, but look how close he is to Huni. Look how close he is to Danico. They are literally separated by 300ths of a second. That makes a massive difference.
Yeah, it does. And I just missed getting on board with him, but I think he also had ran out of ERS. And oh yeah, now what are you doing?
He's
don't revert. You're going to get disqualified.
Is he going to make it?
You're going to get disqualified for this.
Oh, I think he made it.
Oh.
That was on the limit. Yeah, he just turned in a bit too tight. He pinged off the wall, and that took off most of his front wing. And guess what? Guess what time it is? It's the calm before the storm, as majority of the drivers are in the pits prepping themselves for that final push. Although in Yenab's case, it's going to be getting a whole new front wing, because he's going to have to replace that end plate if he wants to check on a beautiful lap time. Damage on this circuit is just too impactful. He cannot afford any damage later.
I'm just on board with Higgsy here. He's coming up to the line, and yeah, so for him, he's just runs out in the final turn as well of the ERS. So I don't know if maybe I just misread it for zones and thought he'd run out a little bit earlier than that. But it seems that everyone's just running out just as they're crossing that that turn.
Well, Huni is on his way out. We have a few people as well coming up to back in the pits. There's Copy. There's also Hammer Time, I believe that was. We have a Red Bull also. That is Vexy. He's going to run out of time if he doesn't hurry up, because he's very much... he's only got 3 minutes 20 to go. Or at least that's what it shows on our side. There is a bug that's going around, and I don't mean the Corona, where the timing seems to be off for spectators, so we're about a minute ahead. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in the last race. We thought that Tomic wasn't going to be able to get round and get his lap in, and he did. So I guess we just wait and see. But you would expect that the vast majority of these guys in the pits would be leaving right now if they were worried about the times. So they probably do have a little bit more to play with than what we're seeing on our screen.
Something to note, Higgsy isn't using his ERS. He is effectively on a hot lap, and it is going to count. I think he may have forgotten that he's not turned his ERS on, or it's a bug on our side. I'm hoping it's a bug on our side and he is using ERS, because he looks pretty rapid. He's back into the pits. This is going to be close. Surely there's no way he can make it out for another lap now. That's got to be his qualifying done. Again, unless he's got a minute ahead, then he's fine.
Yeah, if he's got an extra minute, he should be fine. And I mean, you just see now that there's a few drivers coming out. So I would suspect he's fine. There's still some sitting in the pits, not doing anything yet. So, yep, I think he's going to be the very last person to cross the line. But he is going to have to pretty much, as soon as he gets in, hit the buttons and get sent back out.
Right, here we go then. Vanya is going to start his hot lap. He's going to be one of the first to do so. Huni is going to be ahead of him, and he's already coming up to arguably, and in my opinion, it is the most important corner on this circuit. The exit has to be perfect. Huni's getting a little bit aggressive there on the throttle. I think he's just trying to help with that rotation. That won't help him when it comes to overall lap time, but he's getting a tow from his teammate. This is fantastic to see. TomTom is a really fast driver, so if he can get this repaid to him as well, he should also be able to close in on the likes of Zones and Tomek. I'm not yet seeing the best of TomTom, I think. He's also had pedal issues previously. Last week was his first race, and he did a really good show considering. And the McLaren there of Tomek just sort of... Yeah, that was a bit on the limit there, I think, for Tomek. He was out of the way, but it wasn't completely out of the way.
Yeah, there was enough space. I think he knew he was coming and he had backed off, so that should be fine. There was plenty of space on the left, but he definitely positioned the car in a way that said to Hune, he was like, I am here, you know, like, you're definitely having to go left with me.
Yeah, here comes Hune then to the line. Has the tow been effective? Yes, it has. It's a P4, it's a 132.9, but it's still 7/10 away from our current pole sitter. Can that bridge get broken down just a little bit more? We got the Renaults ahead. That is Brownie and Hammer Time. I think Hammer Time is going to be giving the tow here. Yes, he is, to Brownie. I think he may have timed that a little bit wrong.
Tomek.
I think.
Oh, Tomek nearly lost it there in Sector 1. That would heavily compromised his sector there, so I don't imagine this is going to be a new pole time for him, but, you know, he's proved me wrong before, so we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, and that would also then help Zones Tomek. That's his pole time gone then, surely. There's no way he can recover that. His ERS has been turned off. He's surrendered that lap. So now Zones, all eyes are on him. Can he do what he couldn't do earlier, which is break that sorry, I was going to say 300s. It's actually a 10th and a bit gap, my apologies, between him and Tomek. He only has to improve just slightly, and he's doing it with 0 tow. Bear that in mind. I think Tomek did the exact same thing as well, which is quite surprising because they've rehearsed that on a number of different circuits.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like the confidence that was seeping out of Tomek last week, I think he's in a position where he feels that he doesn't actually need the tow.
And Browning has retired from the session, so he cannot improve. A P11 is the best. He's got a 133.4. That is concerning, considering in the past few races he's been fighting with Tomek and Ghetto for pole position. This race, he's nowhere to be seen. Here comes Zones then around the final corner. Is this going to be the new pole in time? He's clipped the wall again. Is he going to be close? He cannot get it. He's 2 and a bit tenths off. And what could have been, had he just taken that final corner right, I guess we're not going to know now.
On there. Went from dead last to 4th, so that's good from him. That he messed up his previous attempts, so he's finally managed to get a time on the board, and it puts him right up to 4th.
Yep, the racing points have not improved. They've both, one invalidated and the other one just went into the pit. So that is them done and dusted. P7 and P9. Safso then to the line. Can he improve his P15? It was an improvement, but it's not enough. Here's Yenab then. He's also invalidated. He can't make it. Higgsy, he can potentially improve. He is currently out there right now doing it. So let's see. As we've only got 2 corners to go. Yenab, sorry, Higgsy, get yourself into the top 10, mate. Let's see what you got. Or not.
Improvement, but not by enough.
And that's the end of qualifying. Tomek then secures pole position with a 132.268, just ahead of Zones by a 10th and a smidgen, with Zones there in P2. TomTom in P3 by 3/10 off of Zones. It's still pretty close between those. It's just the rest of the field seem to be lacking behind quite considerably.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, as I say, Get-On done it on 1 lap rather than having a banker and then, you know, really gunning for it. So, yeah, we'll see if he can push himself up.
I'm wondering if we've got rain in this race. I've not had the report, but there's a very good chance we've got rain. Tomek, obviously, is pole. Zones in P2. TomTom P3. Get Owned in P4. Vexit P5. Huni P6. Danico P7 with Yenab right behind him in P8. And then Copy just breaking that 1 second margin there in P9. So Midia rounds out the top 10. And Chan, I believe, was in best of the rest position coming into this Grand Prix. And I'm going to need it from you. I'm going to need it. What's your top 3?
I'm going to wait for the weather. Okay, it looks like it's dry. I'm going to say that Tomic's going to win this. I think copy P2, and I think Get Owned will probably take Top Tom and finish P3.
Right, obviously it's looking dry. No signs of rain as it right now. We might see rain later, potentially, but we'll have to wait and see. The drivers are in their grid boxes. As you can see on the left-hand side, they're currently getting themselves strapped in and prepped for this Grand Prix, and those outside the top 10 are choosing what tyre they want to go onto this. They may opt for the hard compound tyre if they're not feeling that confident in their tyre wear. If they are feeling confident, and I'm looking towards the likes of Brownie here, we might see a mediums tyre put on that car. And he may go for that one stop, mediums to soft. It's going to be hard. Let's get that clear. It's going to be very hard. But it is doable. As the AWS Insights believe it's two stop no matter what. Either softs, medium, softs, or softs, mediums, mediums. Surely, if you've got a choice, you go softs, medium, softs.
Yeah, that would be the complete optimum, you would think. But I mean, you can't really get caught up in traffic here because of how long the straights are. It should be fairly easy to overtake. But it looks like Brownie on the mediums as you expected, and if those behind him are a mixture between mediums, hardens, Dougie on the softs, which I've never actually seen Dougie in qualifying. Has he managed to be late into the show?
Yep, he's so there's two major things with that. One, he will be on default setup, so that's going to affect his race quite considerably. He's going to have a lot of error. Alongside that, he's also going to be in the wrong car, because he should be in the Haas, but that's not necessarily his fault. It's just the way that the game chucked him in.
Well, that's a bit awkward.
I've had the weather report. Do you want to hear it?
It's going to be dry all race.
Yeah. 0% chance of rain this session. Which is frustrating, because we look at the F2s. We saw the F2 race, and it was incredibly wet. You know, coming into this one, we're not going to see any rain. And that race was spicy as hell, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. You know, it's a bit of rain always makes things a little bit more exciting and a bit more unpredictable. But yep, unfortunately, we're not going to get that for this F1 race.
I have to apologise. I have been corrected. Apparently now, in this game, you can load a setup if you join during qualifying session. So Dougie may actually still be in with a chance here of performing high. I've seen him race, but I've only ever seen him race in open lobbies. He's very fast. Is he going to be fast enough though in these 50% races where the fuel load is much higher and the pressure on you is also much higher? So let's see then. Tomek has got into his grid box, ready for this Grand Prix to start. Fingers crossed we don't have a 6-year delay on this lights out. We'll have to wait and see.
You said Dougie's in the wrong team as well, didn't you?
Yeah, he should be in Haas.
Yeah, that might cause issues if there is a safety car or something, that, you know, we'll see.
Well, lights are on then here in Vietnam. It's about to go green. It's go time. Everybody's still sat in the grid boxes because they have got the 6-year delay. There we go, finally. Tomek also where the Alphas have had a bit of an issue. Is that Brook? Brook just looked like he was stuck. He couldn't move there. He's lost so much time. Tomek is under pressure from Zones, who's gone round the outside. This is huge for him coming into it. He can get the better exit. He can get the better run. And I think Zones will take race lead. Top Tom's up to P3. And this is going to be a fantastic run here.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we wanted to see from Zones. A little bit of, you know, kickback against Tomek, who we know is an incredible driver. And this is definitely going to be a challenge for him now. He will get the slipstream, so we'll see if he's able to make a move on it. But that's a great start from Zones.
Oh, Copy's got for a move here on Sumity as well. Down the inside of this very long, sweepy left-hander. It's very slow here, and Sumity is trying to just stick his head in there. He's kept hold of that position, but Copy is much closer. There's still a chance here. Tomek is going for a move on Zones. This is to regain race lead. Zones does not want to surrender this, but Tomek has actually turned off his ERS. So surely Zones can go for the move here into the braking zone. He's looking for it down the inside. He's backed out a little bit earlier than Tomek. I think Tomek was just a bit more confident on the brakes, and Top Tom is watching all of this go down, hoping something can come to light.
Yep, and look at Dougie. He's like a flying start. He's up 5 positions already, and he's just absolutely nailing these overtakes.
Oh, Chan and Brownie, they're locked together. They've managed to free themselves. A little bit of contact again, and Brownie's in the wall. Chan's also just clipped him as well. There's definite wing damage there for Brownie. Issues all round.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it looks like Chan might have some damage as well. So yeah, that's both the cars with some wing damage.
Is that Vanya? Vanya just gone off into the wall? Oh, they're into the pits. Sorry, they're into the pits. So we've got a couple of guys in the pits, and Brownie and Vanya.
Yep. Brownie and Vanya.
They started on the mediums. This is not ideal for them at all.
Nope, not ideal, but I mean, they could switch to hard and potentially one-stop this. It's not optimal.
It's not optimal at all. Okay, so get earned on the back of Top Tom then. And if you can hear banging, unfortunately that is fireworks. Right time of the year for it. So Tomek, still your race leader, 4/10 ahead of Zones it looks like. Although I'm looking at that gap there. Actually, you know what? That's probably pretty accurate. Top Tom is not 1 minute 36 ahead. I promise you. He is trying his hardest to close back in on Zones. I think he's about a second and a bit now away. So he's outside of DRS range for when we get on to the next lap. We are, of course, on lap 2 still. So keep an eye out to see how that pans out. Yenab, though, he's actually looking to use his teammate here for some tow ahead. He's trying to get past Vexit. Not into the braking zone. Is he a bit late there? No, I thought he was going to be very late on the brakes. He stopped the car just nicely, but not got the exit he needed, and that's allowed Vexit to run away and Copy to close in.
Yep, and Vexit as well has got some wing damage there, so that's not great for him. And
just remember though, the safety car could easily spice all of this up. It just takes one mistake from any of the drivers. We've already seen an incident.
yeah, now they've just made a massive move around the outside of Vexit there, but I think Vexit's now decided to give it in and come into the pits, but that looked like a very near moment for Yenab to potentially lose a bit of wing himself.
Yep, indeed. Vexit into the pits very early on for this race. I can't see his front wing, so I have no idea if he has got damage, but I can tell you now, Zones is still here with Tomek, and now that DRS is enabled, Tomek is in trouble. There's not a lot he can do here. I've got a feeling they're going to work together to just keep swapping places, but Tomek needs to decide, does he want to try and help his teammate out at all? Because he could actually hold Zones up in the areas where you know he's not going to overtake to try and back the pack up a little bit and give Get Owned an opportunity he might desire. Get Owned obviously has got the tow and the DRS on Top Tom, which Top Tom does not have on anybody else. And I can inform you that the stewards have said the incident between Brownie and Chan on lap 1 is under investigation. So expect to see a potential penalty being applied. This Copy is looking for Yenab still. That gap is actually closing in quite drastically here. This is already, before we've even got to the DRS zone, surely he's going to get this move done and dusted. The wing's wide open. Yenab's got no answer to this at all. And Copy up now to P8. He's making moves just like he did last race.
Yeah, that's a good move there from Copy. It was very easy with the DRS assist, but going back to what you were saying about Tomek holding up Zones, I don't think he can do it because there's too big a gap between Zones and Top Tom. He's 1.4 behind now, and trying to hold that up to just cause a fight, it doesn't really seem worth it from Tomek's point of view. It could end up just costing him more dearly in the race, so Get Owned I think is on his own for the moment.
Apologies, I'm just trying to fix the firework problem I've currently got going off outside. But yeah, I've just shut the window a little bit more. Fingers crossed that will drown the audio out just a touch. If you hear pops, it's not in the game. It is outside my house. Unit in the pits then. He's decided he's going on to the medium compound tyres. This surely will not go to the end of the Grand Prix. The tyre wear here is actually quite severe. And it seems that you have to go a two-stop strategy. As here comes Brownie. That's a big lunge on the inside there of Vexit. He's made that move work just about. The hard tyres there of Vexit are not really favoured. And Brownie loving the grip, loving the extra. Oh, wow, Vexit. That was a very loose back end there. Can't tell if you've been for a curry last night. Because that was very loose.
That's I'm going to put that in the top drawer of things that the nonsense you come out with.
I mean, it was a curb round, followed, obviously a loose end as well. What more do you need? It gives you everything you could absolutely desire. Here comes Hammer Time then on Safso. This is for best of the rest position, at least for now. Obviously, strategy will still play a factor later. They are both on the hard tyres. They both started here. Safso is trying to cover the inside line, but surely there is no answer to this unless you're much later on the brakes, which is still trying to stick it down the inside. He might be able to make this work on the exit. He cannot. And Hammer Time has brought himself up to P11. Fantastic stuff from him.
Yeah, that was a great move, and needed to get done. But right now, I mean, I'm having a look. Vanya's actually been into the pits 3 times. He's not having a great day. So he desperately needs a safety car to try and bring himself back into this race. But him and Vexit are definitely not enjoying this race at the moment. Vexit's had dropped 11 positions, and Vanya, as I say, has been in the pits 3 times. He's went mediums, hard, and now softs. So he's managed to get all the tyre compounds he needed to use for this race. And now he can just hopefully go and start trying to get some points.
The stewards have been in touch about the incident between Brownie and Chanakinchi. No further action to be reported. It did look kind of like they just got caught up in each other. Once you make one, that's the thing on this circuit. When you make one mistake, it ruins the rest of the lap. It ruins the next 4 or 5 corners. Zone's opting not to use the DRS there until very late on. Looking at Tomic's ERS, he seems to be more than fine, so surely that's a mistake there.
I think Zones doesn't want to overtake, and you can understand why. With this being such a DRS and slipstream heavy circuit, he's just wanting to stay behind for now and keep building up that gap to Top Tom. I think Zones is in the opinion right now where it doesn't really matter if he's leading this race, so long as he's building up a gap to those behind him, which is a good attitude to have, really, and it will allow him to focus and then potentially fight Tomic towards the end of this race. All he needs to do is stay within that 1 second margin of Tomic, and he's doing that beautifully.
Now, it's a shame that there is no race engineers around for the Renault and Haas team, because Savso and Hammer Time, they've been battling for a couple of laps now, and they keep going at it into the corners. What they need to do is utilize each other to gain time. Obviously, the turn DRS is a very important and very fast method of closing in on the drivers ahead of you, so if you can work together to try and tow yourselves forward, then you absolutely should. Stop arguing with each other, and when it comes to the braking zones, just let that person have the position and then capitalize by using the DRS later.
Yep, and Yenab there in the pits getting a wing change. He only managed 5 laps in those softs, so it's medium tyres on him now, and we'll see if he's what his plans are. Maybe his AWS seems to think a 2-stop for him, but that's him back down into 15th now.
I've just been told by the Haas race engineer that that's exactly what he's just been told to do. Is back off and just use the DRS in tow to help close in. So they've got a 6.3 second gap to Higgsy, currently using P9. This is a really good show for them. They're both on hards. They can take these tyres very far and potentially even go onto softs with it. Top Tom is starting to crumble a little bit now, and Get Owned is very much on the rear of him. You can see the ERS differences between them. Top Tom is struggling.
Yeah, it looks to be at the moment, and this is the thing that's been really impressing me from Get Owned in general, is just how much he's improved just in the space of the last 6 months to a year. And he's keeping calm. He knows he's good for his ERS management, and he's just putting pressure and applying pressure in a way that's forcing his opposition to go to places they're not too comfortable with, and it's just really impressive to see.
We're starting to see these guys that started on the soft tyres pit as Dougie, he was in last place. He's climbed up to now P7. Yes, there's been a fair few people that have been to the pits and whatnot, but still, Dougie climbing that high that quickly shows only good things for him. You get to a point where you think, actually, maybe you can get a fair few points here.
Yeah, he absolutely can. He's not too far behind a few of the guys in front, and realistically he's not too far off the lead. He's about 20 seconds behind, but from starting last position, you expect to be a lot further behind than that after everyone's been squabbling in front of you. So yeah, he's managed to just have a really great start to this race. It obviously started on the same tyres as those in front.
Get On and Top Tom, they've just swapped places. It was a bit of a late lunge there from Get Earned. Top Tom read it and he backed out, but they lost so much time because of to the race leaders, because of Get Earned trying to make that move there in the braking zone. We talked about this earlier with Safso and Hammer Time. All they need to do is just work together, like they're doing now. This is Safso. He's fighting again in the braking zone. He's got the move done, But the time lost now. Copy on the back of this fight as well. He's got a chance to really spice things up even more and take both of the positions away. He's on the faster medium compound tire anyway. It's on a younger tire as well, which is obviously more favored towards copying here. Safso needs to stop, or both of them, they need to stop fighting into the braking zone.
Yeah, just a little bit more patience. You know, save some ERS, save some tires and some fuel, and just try and stay behind for a bit.
Yeah. The zones holding on to the back of Tomek here. It's still just sitting pretty, but Tomek actually, I think Zones thinks he's got Tomek sweating. I don't think he realizes just how relaxed Tomek appears to be right now. Unless, and this is a big unless Zones knows something that we don't. He could very easily be sitting in lean throughout this entire run, and then just thinking about, oh, maybe I'll just pass him later then when I've got all that fuel on the second stint. I can just do what I want and just pray that the pit crew work out for us here. Get On and Top Tom are going at it once more. Top Tom's got his nose stuck into the back of Get On there. He almost pit maneuver Get On out of the way. They've kept themselves together. They've kept themselves clean. And Get On is still P3.
Yep, he's managed to defend that there, and right the battle behind them between Dougie and Higgsy. Dougie's just slowly eroding that gap, just working his way up and trying to get on the back of him.
Oh, Yenab! Oh, Yenab and Brooke there actually having a bit of contact. I don't think Brooke is actually driving that car, so that was the AI that was getting very aggressive with him there and fighting it out. As Tomek, our race leader, has pit and he's gone onto the hard compound tires. That is to go to the very end. But I believe, if I remember correctly, the hards on this circuit are actually very good here. They're actually almost as good as the mediums in terms of lap time, and they can go much further the distance.
Well, I can attempt to try and get you some of that statistical information, and I'll check the times of people that have been putting the hards on. So Hammer Time and Safso are on.
Uni, is he going to go for a send here? This is a big lunge into turn one. We talked about it earlier, but he actually made that move work because he's got his whole car ahead, and he's now separating Safso and Hammer Time. He said, look, enough for you two. Stop this squabble. I'm here now. I'm going to put everything at ease for you. Safso, let him go, get the toe, and I think Hammer Time's actually going to try and cruise on in here as well. Is he going to look for an inside line? He's had a little look down the inside. He's had to back out of it. I think he knows it's a bit ambitious to try it here, but surely, Huni loses out here. Surely, there's no way he can keep this.
Well, you'll see if he gets a decent run. He just managed to get a little bit extra, but Safso's right on the back of him. Yeah, I don't think he is going to be able to keep this.
Yeah, Safso's got the DRS wing wide open. Are we going to see a squabble into the braking zone again? We've seen it before. Huni's trying to defend the inside. That was a very late move, but I think that was just within the limits. And Hammer Time's trying to capitalize. He's trying to get around the outside. He could not make that work. And his teammate, Brownie, just slips on through on the inside. And he's on the softs that are 6 lap old. And now Safso, oh, that's Brownie going down the inside. Very well executed there from him, but his tires are going to be dead soon. Now we're seeing Top Tom in the pits. We haven't yet seen Zones or Get Owned come in yet, so maybe Top Tom's trying to get the undercut.
Yep, Top Tom there actually got a 3-second time penalty though, so that's kind of hampered that undercut attempt from him. As Safso just touches the wall and he's spinning out just in the final turn there, and that's allowed Hammer Time and Yenab to swing past him.
Yeah. And Yenab is also on the back of Hammer Time now. He's actually is he going to go for a send here? We've talked about how you shouldn't do it into turn one, but I think he's going to silence me because the only caveat there is you need to get your full car ahead in order to make that move into turn one work. If you are side by side through turn one, you will never get that move done if you're on the inside, purely because they've got a much better run through turn two.
Yep, and let's just, I want to highlight some idiot for a second there. He's doing wonderful on these tyres, as he always does. The soft tyres there, made it into the 10 laps now, and you expect, obviously, him to just go a little bit further than the rest, but he's up 7 positions right now. He's on the same strategy as the 2 in front of him, so it's actually working out pretty well for him.
I have been informed I'm completely wrong, and the hard tyres are rubbish on the circuit. But Zones has got himself a massive 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. So what looked to be a really good run in this race for him to secure a race win, he's now suddenly looking like he might lose out. Dougie under threat here from Danica, who's on these mediums that are much more comfortable than the softs. So Dougie is running. Danica's going to have to go around the outside into the second to last corner. It's a very awkward one to get through, and Dougie just about manages to keep him behind for now, but they're losing time. This battle up ahead of them, where he could be closing in onto Top Tom and Higgsy, as here comes Danica in towards turn 1. This is going to be a whole car ahead by Shaw. Is he? Yes, yep, he is. He's through. He's done that one nicely. So now it's Top Tom who's going to be looking to pass Higgsy as quick as he can, because he's not going to want to sit behind. He's going to want to take the chance of passing Higgsy immediately, although he's not used ERS overtake. I feel like this is a mistake here. He needs to pass him just purely because Higgsy could hold him back on the next run of the circuit.
Yeah, he's managed to get a move done at least, so he can head off, but I feel that that might be, you know, allowing Higgsy back in. We'll see how much. I mean, Higgsy's got the overtake available, but he's not using it, so I think he's just planning on sitting back and letting Top Tom go.
I think Higgs is playing the long smart game here, which is I want to do the inverse of what Samidia is doing, which is taking the softs as far as you can, like 10-11 laps, and then switching over to the mediums, whereas Higgsy started on the mediums. He's going to be looking to try and get to about 10-11 laps remaining of the race before he then switches to the softs, and then ultimately repay that favour. It actually works out better for Higgsy, purely because the soft tyres will be faster, they'll be... you know, the car will be lighter, so you'll be able to get more out of the tyre. But the end of a race on worn soft compound tyres is never fun.
Nope, and that's Dougie. They're flying into the pits. It looked like it was a very last-minute decision whether he wanted to go in or not, and now get owned as well as in finally. So he took those longer than Samidia actually, and that's him getting a fresh pair of boots now. But he's going to pop out a little bit further back than he would have hoped, and maybe even end up behind Samidia. Nope, looks like he's good. He's pulled out in front just a couple of seconds. So. Tomic back in the lead. Zone's right behind him, but with that 5-second penalty, puts him basically in the clutches of Top Tom. So we'll see how that plays out. Tomic might end up slowing down Zones on purpose. So interesting to see what's going to happen for the rest of this race.
Indeed, and the stewards have been in touch once more to inform us that the incident between Safso and Hammer Time is under investigation. So there's a possibility there may be something penalised there. I didn't see the incident, or at least if I did, I don't remember what it was. But here comes Ghetto on Higgsy. Then he's not going to wait here. You know he's not. He's going to get much later on the brakes here, but he has to stop the car in time. And I think he's just about done that. Yes, indeed. Get owned. Very well driven from him, but he has lost massively to Top Tom, who's gained on the race leaders by a considerable margin. The one question, the biggest question mark, and the triple dots is around Zones. I don't know how he can recover this, but at the same time, he's lapping so much faster than I've seen before. Hammer Time receives a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Safso. So that is bad news bears for him. He is very much in trouble.
Yep, very much in trouble there. And I did get you the stats earlier, and I forgot to tell you. The hards look to be about 2 seconds slower than the medium tyres. So Tomic effectively is on tyres that should be 2 seconds a lap slower than the guys behind him. He's the only one that's kind of went onto hards at the top field. However, we know Tomic is an incredible driver, so I'm sure if there was going to be a 2 second a lap deficit, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time he's made a strategy decision that was backfired. I mean, look at last week. He chose to go on to the medium compound to try and qualify. I've lost you. Are you still here?
I think I'm back.
Yep. Let me quickly check you a hot invite really quick before this fight kicks off. Where are you? You're not in the game? Okay, you're not online. Let me know when you're back online, I'll invite you. However, Zones is still hanging into the back of Tomic. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know how Zones gets out of this, because he is fast, don't get me wrong, but surely he's going to have to force a pass on Tomek just to be able to then sort of build the gap as much as he can and pray that those hard tires are struggling to keep up with his pace. He will need to burn everything to pass him and then build a 1 second margin. After that, he's just in big trouble.
And that's me back online, if you were able to send us an invite.
Yep, just before anything kicks off. There you go. And there might be an appeal to the Hammer Time and Safso incident, as apparently Hammer Time backed off to allow Safso back through. So there may be a reversal on the penalty potentially, if he did decide that was if the stewards decided that's fair. I'm just trying to get to Dougie, who's on these medium tires. We saw what he was like when he was on the soft tires and how he was so much faster than the back half of the grid. Dougie is stuck here. Chan's going for a move here on Safso in towards turn 1. We talked about how you can't do it, and he's made it work anyway. So I'm just going to have to stop saying that, because every time I say it, they make that overtake work.
Yeah, these guys always like to prove us wrong.
Sorry, Zones has gone for a move around the outside here on Tomek. He's actually given him plenty of space, and Tomek has not. Tomek has actually given him a bit of a nudge onto the outside line there, but Tomek is hanging in there. In race lead, as Zones is trying to fight his way through. There was a bit of contact between them, and surely he's going to get the inside line here. He cannot get the exit he needs. Tomek will hold on to race lead for now, but Zones is fired up. He's definitely going to go for a move anytime he can.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying about those tyres, as Tomek's effectively are the slower tyre. Looked compared to the other people was about 2 seconds a lap slower. Obviously Tomek's roughly putting in comparable times to those behind him, but he's still not got that grip advantage that the guys behind him have.
Now these guys obviously know each other. They've been racing together for quite a while. I don't know how close they are in terms of friendship, but I can guarantee you here none of that would matter, because Zones is very much looking to snatch that race win away from Tomek. And the statement that comes with that, you know, Tomek has obviously got a lot of reputation. He's the Lewis Hamilton, if you like, of the RNL. He very much has... If he makes a mistake, people are like, why is he making mistakes? Is this the end of his career, you know, before it's even begun? Whereas Zones is effectively the Max Verstappen, like you said earlier. He is starting to bring himself into this on a more permanent basis. McLaren need an answer. I think Zones is it.
Yeah,
here he comes in.
Zones can definitely try and push himself in, and this should be pretty easy down with the DRS.
Well, you say that, but that's Tomek defending the inside. A bit of a weave there from Tomek. That might be a little bit naughty from him there, and he's going to return the favour as he did last lap round, but a little bit of mistake there from Tomek, and more mistakes there from Tomek. This is surely going to allow Zones through. He's got the inside for the right-hander. There's nothing that Tomek can do. A bit of a lock-up there from Zones, but that's not going to stop him from being race leader. And Zones now, this is crunch time. This is the bit where he has to be in time trial mode, the fastest laps you've ever seen, the most consistent laps you've ever seen. He cannot afford to make a mistake, and he has to build a gap from Tomek.
Yeah, and both of them have absolutely no ERS to play with, really. So Tomek just needs to try and hope that he can stay and get in that 1 second margin for going down these straights, and then maybe we'll get this place back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way that Tomek can sort of hang in here and make Zones have problems is if he can stay in the DRS zones. But that's a 6/10th gap already. Yes, he's going to have DRS. He's actually burning a fair bit of his ERS as well. He's also struggling for ERS, but that gap has brought right down now to 4/10. And if Zones can't build enough of a gap here on this snaily bit, which he's just had a bit of a back-end step out. Same for Tomek, but Tomek had less of a problem. Zones is going to lose race lead again here.
I don't think Tomek's going to go for the move. He knows that Zones has a 5-second penalty, so a 3-second penalty even. So I think Tomek might just stay at the back here and just wait. Unless Zones has already served that 3-second penalty, and when I disappeared, I've kind of lost the telemetry since I disconnected, so I'm not too sure if it's still there or not. But yeah, I mean, Tomek can effectively sit here and just wait.
Well, Tomek is in a bit of a problem now, though, because this area of the track is where Zones will start to build the gap. 6/10 already, And Zone's one of those grippier tyres. Tomek is trying to keep up with him as much as he can, but you can see how much he's fighting the car to try and maintain the grip versus the tyres that they have. They lock up on the both sides. That looked very synchronized there. They started the lock up at the same time. They ended the lock up at the same time. And DRS available on the home straight means Zones is going to be trapped here, I think, unless he can build out this next few corners. Not really a great deal he can do here.
Nope, nothing that he can do really. He just has to hope that that sector 3 manages to get enough of a gap that he can get out the DRS. But that's much easier said than done when you're going up against Tomek.
Yeah, exactly. 5/10 again is the gap coming into it. Zones is going to be the race leader again. Sorry, hold on to race leader again throughout this next DRS straight, unless Tomek gets a really good run, which he did there. 3/10 now. He actually very easily going to get this move done and dusted, I think, as Get-On has just cruised on past Top Tom in that very short DRS run. But I feel like that's a bit premature. You don't want to go for a move there. Top Tom's going to always welcome that with open arms because he knows what's coming up next. He just has to stay with your toe, although that gap is tremendous now. That might actually have been the right decision there from Get-On. I don't know if he just saw a weakness in Top Tom's. Top Tom got damaged. Why was he so slow there?
I can't see any damage, but he might do. I think he's lost an end plate.
Yeah, the right end plate's gone. That would explain why he was so much slower. So Get-On read that scenario and just said, well, you've got damage. There's no way you can keep up, especially in Sector 3. I'm going to go. See you. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of your race.
Yeah, it's a massive gap between Get-On and Tomek now, though. That's 12.4 seconds. That's not something that he'll really be looking to catch up on. He's just probably going to settle for P3 right now. But yeah, that's...
Oh, Top Tom's in the pits. That's a wing replacement there needed, I think. Ultimately, this is not good for him coming into this race, as I've lost my co-commentator for another time. He seems to be having some network issues throughout. I mean, just touching back onto what Badger was saying, though, is whilst, yes, the gap is 12 and a bit seconds, and he won't be looking to try and close that down on Tomek, he only actually needs to close in to Zones' range, which is that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, you know, we're talking a 7 seconds gap between him and Zones, and then he's got that covered. So there's still a good chance there for Get-On to secure a P2. But right now, this is literally looking like a 2-horse race for the win between Zones and Tomek, although it looks heavily favoured towards Tomek, purely based on that massive penalty that Zones got. Hopefully my co-com can return shortly, if he can get his network up and running, but for the meantime, you will just have to hear my lovely voice. As there are pit stops happening. Safso off of those hard tyres onto softs now. 10 laps. We know that they can be done. Hammer Time's trying to take them a little bit further. He's going to 18 laps on those hard tyres, so he can then do 9 laps on his softs, and life would be great. Yenab, 11 laps in on these mediums. I don't think he can take them to 21 laps. That's surely not possible. And that's going to result in a puncture. We'll keep an eye out then. We'll see if that does in fact happen. Tomek still keeping within that half a second gap between Zones. And Zones has now got to be racking his brain, trying to figure out what is the solution here. How do I get out of this pickle I'm in? It just feels like it's just too much. Everything I tried to do is going to be for nothing. I'm on a faster compound tire, but I don't have any pace to be able to recover it because of how hard this track is when it comes to breaking that DRS zone. It's just impossible. So there's got to be a point where you acknowledge that that's the case and just do laps. Sit behind Tomek, take the P2, maybe snatch fastest lap away from him, get the extra point. That sounds like the only real answer to this problem. You got one Mercedes at the very front of the grid, and you got the other Mercedes at the very back of the grid. As Vanny has been struggling throughout this Grand Prix to try and keep himself completely clean. In fact, let's take a look. How many stops has he had? He's had 3. He's had more than any other driver on the circuit by 1. He did have a pretty rough start to this race, that's for sure. If only there was a way for him to get back into this. A single safety car would completely change this up. I believe you're back. Are you back?
I'm hoping to be. Give me a second. Steam's just doing its thing.
Well, Brownie is coming in to the attack range here on Dougie. I don't think he's going to send it here. He has burnt a fair bit of his ERS. 30% remaining as we come into the snaily bit. Dougie is on the faster medium compound tyres, but he's taking that corner very tight. It means he's going to have a really poor exit here, and this is going to be Brownie in the tow for Dougie. He might even get the move done before we even get to the DRS range, but we'll see as the DRS is coming up now. So he's actually going to need it. He might actually need it even more so as we come into it. That is a lot of pace there that Brownie's got on his car. Coming into the braking zone, it's going to be Dougie trying to stick his nose in, I think. No, he's decided to sit back, and that's the right decision to make. You do not want to put yourself in a position where you're compromising your run through the corners. And Dougie now down to I say down to P9. He started dead last in this race. Remember that. He's got a long way to go in this Grand Prix still, and he might actually still be able to gain some stuff here. If you've got Higgsy, who's on these soft tyres, who've done 5 laps already, he's got another 8 to do. Those tyres are going to be shot come towards the end of this race. There may be a couple of points in order for Dougie.
Can you send us an invite, please?
I can indeed. Top Tom has actually just set the new fastest lap. I didn't see the time, but that's a very good sign for Top Tom that he is starting to get back into this race a little bit more. He's 1.9 seconds away from Higgsy, which is easily going to start to come down and quite considerably. Tomek actually looking for zones. He's gone down the inside, a bit of contact between the two of them. A black and white flag has been shown to Tomek for multiple defensive moves. So we've seen, obviously, he was swerving earlier. He's now been with the black and white flag. That is actually his second race in a row where he has been given a black and white flag. Bear that in mind. That's concerning that he's in that position. But he's trying his best to attack zones now. I think zones started to back off or started to feel uncomfortable. 9 laps in on these mediums, the tyre compounds are now going to be around about equal. Maybe slightly favoured towards zones, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah, and as you say, that's the second time now that Tomek's been given the naughty flag. So it might be something he'll need to adjust with his driving a little bit, and hopefully not cause any more issues. But the stewards, that's why we have the live stewards. They keep on everyone, make sure that no one's misbehaving. Yeah,
and you got to give credit to the stewards. They do a very thorough job when it comes to reviewing these penalties. I think they've nailed every single one. I don't think I've actually seen a single penalty issued where I've disagreed with it. Tomek still hanging into zones though. This is going to continue for a very long time. He's got very little ERS to work with. The DRS wing is wide open. He's going to go for a move here. Yeah, zones has got no answer to this because this is all about the battle of the braking zones. And I think realistically, Tomek having that little bit further edge ahead of Tomek, of zone, sorry, means he will take race lead and start to build away. Copy though, he's looking for Brownie. This is good stuff considering where they are on the field. They could actually go for an improvement as Vexit has now taken the fastest lap away from what was Top Tom's. Brownie, is he trying to let Copy through? That was a bit of a squeeze there from Brownie. Very nearly put Copy into the wall. And Huni on the back of this, he's going to try and get Copy and Brownie both at the same time. I think he's going to get Brownie on the straight, and I think he's going to try and pass Copy in the braking zone.
So that lap from Vexit is actually very fast. It's like 1.2 seconds faster than the leaders, so very well done from him.
Oh, here comes Huni around the outside of Brownie. Brownie's managed to keep himself in this, but that's going to force Huni off the circuit. I don't think there was much more that Brownie could have done there, if I'm being honest, because he was hard turning left. But ultimately, Huni's the one who loses out. Copy is now up to P7, and he's built that 1 second margin, which is crucial when it comes to these races, because you cannot get ever out of that DRS tow without a battle forming on the circuit. I'm just going to go back to our battle for race leader, which is about to go down once more, as Zones is on 25% ERS when he came out of that corner, whereas Tomek is in the single digits, and he hasn't even got it turned on. So keep an eye out now to see whether or not Zones decides to send one on Tomek. I think he's opting for no thanks. I'll wait.
Yeah, but the problem for Zones right now is how long can you wait? You know that you've got that penalty to deal with, so you need to build the gap.
Oh, Dougie and Higgsy, they're having a little bit of a scrap of their own. Coming through turn 2 into turn 3, very nearly had contact between them, and surely this is going to be Higgsy losing out. There's no DRS for him, whereas there is DRS for Dougie. But you don't want to attack here. That's why he's not got his ERS into overtake mode, because he knows how important the next DRS section is. And just going back to zones though, I don't think he's trying to go for a move because he knows at this point there's not a lot he can do. He's pretty much done in this race. He's P2 at best now because of that 5-second penalty. He's pretty much locked that in though, because Get Owned is 12.5 back and he's not actually gained anything in the time that he's been free. As here comes Yenab trying to get a move done on Brownie. Brownie seems to be very quick here. Might actually go for a late break move. Nope, he's decided against it. Good. I'm glad they're making these decisions because you're only going to lose time by trying to attack in those corners.
I take it Top Tom came in for an extra pit stop then.
Yep, he chucked himself onto some soft tyres, which is where, right when I sent you the invite, he sent us a new fastest lap. Ooh, a penalty for Gettern. Is that his second?
I don't know, because all my telemetry... Well,
can you check race director, please?
I can check.
Because I believe that's his second, as Zones now is surely going to have to pass Tomek. There's not a lot that he could do here. He knows he's faster out of that corner and into this braking zone. Tomek does not want to attack this at all. It would not benefit anybody if he did, and he's decided to sit behind him. Very aggressive there from Tomek. But I think he got caught out by how awkward Zones was on the exit. There was no damage on his car. I mean, it would have only have backfired for Tomek if anybody. But yeah, just a bit of a shunt there. Ooh, we got a Ferrari that's been rotated. That's not Huni, or is that Top Tom? It is Top Tom. Top Tom's in the wall. Top Tom is Austin Powers in the corner of the circuit. How did he get there? He's falling down the order. The yellow flag is being waved. He's trying to get himself back out onto the circuit again now that there's a bit of clear air. He knows his race is done. Top Tom. I have no idea how he got into that corner, but he is very much out of the points now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. Nothing he can really do now. He's going to need to come into the pits, get that wing replaced, and yeah, not enough time now to fight back into the points. So that's a big shame for him.
Yeah, he's also struggling to even just navigate that braking zone there. Obviously, the wing does add extra downforce, which does help you brake, but yeah, no wing means no real braking force. As Tomek, again, in the chase for zones for race lead. The concern here from Tomek's perspective is he's got to worry about whether or not Zones' penalty is actually going to be removed or not. Because if it isn't going to be removed, then he's fine. I mean, I don't think it will be, but if Tomek has it in his mind that he might actually get it removed, as they come into the braking zone, they are going to go side by side once more. Top Tom, of course, has retired, as we kind of expected that. Into the pit lane he went and took himself out of this Grand Prix due to, I can only imagine, he just spanned the rears coming through that corner and then just somehow... He must have Austin Powers it. That's the only way to get there.
Yeah, it's a bit upsetting, but you know, these things happen in racing, unfortunately.
I mean, it's been a fantastic show from McLaren again, hasn't it? 1 and 3 on the table here, unless, and this is a big unless, because Get Owned does have, I'm sure you're about to confirm for me, 2 lots of 3-second time penalties.
Only one. He's got
only
3
one.
seconds. Yeah.
Damn. Brownie going for a move here on Higgsy? No, he's not. He's waiting. He's biding his time. Unless Higgsy's just... Hey, Higgsy must have got that move done there. That's a little bit of a lock-up there from Brownie. That's not going to help him in this battle for P9. This is to double his points, remember. He's P10 right now. He's going to want to get those extra points and bring himself further up in the championship. He is actually fighting, to an extent, for Constructors' lead. McLaren are obviously leading, and they're going to extend that lead even further after this Grand Prix. It's going to be a very tough one for anybody to beat, I think.
So, just a small tidbit of information. And I'm not 100% sure if this has been for the full race, because my telemetry was reset, but Copy is so much faster through the speed trap than anyone else.
That is interesting.
He must have no wings on. None at all.
Just 1-1. But I mean, he is 20.5 seconds behind his teammate. So he's clearly faster in a straight line. But when it comes to the snaky bits, that's where everything seems to go wrong for him. Which I think maybe if you can qualify quite highly on that setup and then just hold everyone back through the DRS section, then you're fine. But if it comes to, you know, you're not qualifying up at the front, then that only backfires. as Huni is about to demonstrate, because he's right on the back of him. Chan has improved that lap time, and he's now gone to 1:35.880. So that's your new fastest lap. Here comes Huni then on copy. Despite his 1-1 wings, it looks like he is going to get overtaken by Huni in the DRS, but he's got no ERS to keep himself alive. Copy can just bide his time. There's still a couple of laps to go. Zones is actually dropping away from Tomek. This is where the point of where his tires start to drop and Tomek starts to pull away.
Yep, and if he's just outside that 1 second margin, so he's not going to have DRS, and unless he can pull himself back in for this detection zone here on the other side, and that's what he's banking on just now, because he's just within it. Can he keep it there?
Ooh. Where's the detection line? The detection line is... Tomak's gone through it now. So, I think he's got it. I think he's just got it. It did drop. Yep, he has. Okay, good. That was very, very close. So this is good for Zones to close in, but look at his ERS. It's the big donut ring of death. He has 0% ERS to work with, and the grip that Tomek has got on his hard tires now will allow him to start building outside the 1 second margin, and there's no answer for Zones here. He's done and dusted. P2 at best.
Yeah, there's nothing really that he can do now. Only 3 laps to go if you include the remainder of this one. And no ERS, tyres on the way out, and potentially about to lose DRS. There's no real hope for him now.
Yeah. I wish to believe that there is a way for him to get back into this, but it just seems like it's just too hard. There's nowhere to go. He's just got DRS here, but he's already outside that 1 second margin. So yes, he will bring it back in again. Probably by the time we get to turn... No, he's not even brought it back in. So even when we get to turn 1, he can't get it back. He had DRS.
He never had DRS. No, not on my screen, he never.
Oh well.
1.1 there as well behind now, so he's not getting it for here. And that means he's most likely not getting it on the next straight either.
Also to note, Williams are scoring quite big today. P4 for Samidia, P8 for Yenab. This is good points that they need in their running for the constructors, but they are quite the way back on McLaren. And McLaren, they need a dramatically poor race to really bring that constructors lead down, because they're already a decent amount up ahead. Now they're going to be pretty comfortable ahead. That they're going to need to, I don't know, severely screw it up somehow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're only a few races in.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. You beat me to it. But yeah, look, just going back to Zones, that gap is severe. It's a 1.5 now. There is no response to this, despite any penalties Tomek could gain. The only way he gains anything from this now is if Tomek... Ooh. Zones just clipped the wall there. He didn't get damage. That could have been terrible for him.
Yeah, and that's... I'm actually looking... And again, if everything I've got is correct here, the top 4 have all done 1 stops, and everyone else that's like in the top 10 have done 2 stops. So it's interesting there. Different strategies at play.
I mean, Brownie was in a very awkward situation anyway. He started off quite far back. He then had damage on lap 1 and had to bring himself back into the pits to then replace his wing, but also change his tyres, and then he had to pit again. You know, things have just not gone well for him. So, yeah, it's a big sad for Brownie. I think he could have been in with a shot of getting a really good points position here, maybe a P4 or a P5 potentially, because him and Samidia are quite similar when it comes to pace. I think I would say that it's slightly favoured towards Brownie in that respect. But Samidia's strategy and tyre management is nothing shy of a master. He is fantastic at looking after his tyres. So, yeah, very good stuff from him to secure a P4, at least for now, unless... I'm pretty certain Get-On has got 6 seconds of penalties. I think it's just not showing on your screen. Tomek getting his back end kicking out there. He's got a Mercedes ahead of him. That is Vania, who is in P16 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been having all sorts of issues, so I might have missed one. But yeah, even if he does have 6 seconds, though, it's still it's a 3-second gap that somebody would need to close on this lap. So,
unless Get-On gets another one. But here comes Tomek then through the final corner now. This is for the race win, and congratulations to Tomek for securing a beautifully executed P1. Zones across the line takes P2. Obviously, the 5-second penalty kind of really shot his race in the dirt. He would have probably sat behind as Get Owned. Oh, that's a big mistake there from him. This could actually allow some idiot to come through. That's a puncture there for Get Owned on the rear left tyre. That's why he's struggling for pace. Suddenly, the gap is there. He's got it. He's in the 6 seconds. That's if I'm right. Does he have the penalty that he needs? He doesn't. I was wrong. It's only a 3-second time penalty. And some idiot is just about off. But Get Owned literally took the tyres to the very edge and just about clung on to that final podium position. That was a bit of a scare there for Get Owned. Bit of a code
we have been saying that McLaren are effectively the Mercedes of this league, and that's Get Owned doing his best Bottas impression, and then or Hamilton even. What you take your pick on which one he was playing at there.
Oh, Higgsy. Higgsy just propped himself up there. Is Vexy going to climb as well? No, he's not. Dougie quite the way back now. And so, Brownie does still score himself some decent points. A nice P9. Racing Point, they've got themselves a P5 and P6. Copy, doing his usual Copy thing to do, which is just don't get penalties. That's all you got to do. Don't get penalties. Jobs are good in.
Yep, and Chan there with fastest lap. Obviously doesn't get any points for that due to finishing outside of the top 10. But yeah, not a bad pace that he was setting there at the end.
Not bad at all. Well, that is the end of the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Vietnam. We will get the rundown in a second of who finished where, and then we will move over to our driver interviews with our top 3 drivers. There they are then. Tomek on the top step of the podium. Zones, you got to give him credit. He really pushed as hard as he could to achieve the race win, but he just couldn't get it. That one penalty he got from speeding in the pit lane just cost him. That was a bit too much for him. I think if he'd have kept that clean, he could have actually played the game very different. He wouldn't have had to push anywhere near as hard as he did. He'd have been able to sit in the back of Tomek and just apply pressure as much as he wanted, and he could have dominated later when he got on to further later stages of this Grand Prix and just burnt off all his ERS and his fuel and then passed him later. But regardless of that, this is how that Grand Prix looks out. Tomek getting race win with Zones in P2. Get Owned in P3, so it's a beautiful run for McLaren. And some idiot in P4. Racing Point 5th and 6th with Danico and Copy. A lot of good points for them then. Huni in P7, Higgsy P8, Brownie P9 with Yenab getting the final point, which means both Williams drivers are scoring points today. Vexit gets the Best of the Rest award with Dougie in P12. Hamilton P13 with Chan getting 14th and the fastest lap. He won't get the point because he's not in the top 10, but he does deny a point to those that were in it. Safso P15, Vanya P16 with Brooke in P17, and our only DNFer of the day was Top Tom. So big sad to him. But leaves me with the final question of this. What is your driver of the day?
You know, we never really spoke about him much, but I think we've got to give it to some idiot that's managed to get himself right up to the front end of the grid from where he started in P10. Managed to take those tyres to just the right length to get the maximum amount of time, and got to the end, and as you say, nearly got himself a podium. So, yeah, kept it penalty free and just on a stellar race. Just kept it calm and kept it consistent.
Right then, let's get our good friend and P3 driver Get Owned into the commentary booth for a little cheeky interview. Get Owned, welcome, congratulations on your P3. We'll talk about the race in just a second, but I want to just clutch on to the qualifying. Now, the gap between the top 2 and yourself and the rest of the grid was quite substantial. Do you feel as though you could have improved your lap?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The gap between race leader and P2 in the qualifying, and then yourself and the rest of the grid was quite large. Did you make a mistake, or was that the best you could do?
Definitely not. My PP is a 31.9, but I had pressure. All my laps before were invalidated, so the last sector I just drove very carefully to at least get into the top 5. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, could have done a 0.4 maybe, but definitely not front row. So
And then obviously we're coming to the race. The start of the race was pretty good for you, actually. You managed to keep yourself right where you started and hung on to that for a little while. You then fell into the clutches of Top Tom. You had a little bit of a battle with him for quite a while. Then the pit stops happened, and you dropped off quite marginally. What happened?
Yeah, I just stretched the tires a little bit too much, and I did a huge mistake right before the pit entry. It cost me like 2-3 seconds. But I just don't have the rhythm on this track yet. The second sector especially, I'm losing a lot of time compared to the others. Yeah, I need to fix that. Also, the setup didn't feel great. Yeah, I can definitely do better. But yeah, also I didn't have enough time to really practice for this race. I just practiced this afternoon. So yeah, P3 is a really good result. So yeah.
Well, I was just saying that from a McLaren perspective, this really does help step your lead already even further ahead. It's getting to a point now where you guys are going to have to start making some serious mistakes in order for you to lose out on your constructor's lead. But obviously, we are very early days into the calendar, and I remember last season, both you and Tomek started to drop off after we got through, I think it was Spain, and that's whenever you started to lose that pace a little bit. I know you said last time we had the interview that your motivation dropped off. Are you still feeling motivated right now?
Yeah, definitely, but I don't have a lot of time right now to practice really, at least during the week. But it should be better in like 1 month because I have more time at this point. So I will just continue to improve, just get into the rhythm, and yeah, I will try my best.
Well, congratulations on your P3. Very well done from you. I need to ask you one final question. Next week is China. Where's your prediction? Where are you getting? Where are you finishing? Are you getting the win?
Definitely not. Tomek is bloody fast in this game. I'm actually aiming again for P3, maybe P2, but I don't think I can challenge for the win. So P2 would be really cool, really good, but I guess P3 zones is also bloody fast in this game. So yeah.
Well, hopefully I can see you do well again and get yourself another podium. But to an extent, I don't want you to do that because I'd like to see Renault bring it back. I want to see them get up there and start fighting you for that Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, I think they need to improve, actually. I think both Renault drivers are like not in the same condition as last season. I think they can improve, definitely. But yeah, I think they also need to like sort out what they really want to do with the setups, because Brownie, I think, is really struggling with his setups right now. So if he can sort it out, he might be challenging us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it if they can improve, so we can have a little fight at the top.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the P3. I look forward to seeing you race next week.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And now, let's get Zones. Zones, how you doing?
Fine, all right.
Well, let's just talk about the qualifying. You and Tomek were ahead of the field by quite a margin. Do you feel like you could have actually... Because, I mean, looking at that last lap, just a couple of mistakes. That one pinch off the wall there could have got you pole position.
Yeah, I was improving quantum in first sector, but I missed second sector, so I could be on pole position, but mistakes, and yeah.
Now the race. This is the bit I want to get to, is the point of where you were doing so well throughout the race. You actually looked like you could easily take the win from Tomek and that he was going to struggle, especially when he went on the hards and you went to the mediums. But on your way into the pits to get on the mediums, you got yourself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. At that point there, do you feel like your race was done? You could only get P2 at best?
This penalty was unfair because I didn't reach this speed. I will
Are you going to appeal it?
Wait.
Okay. Is everything okay?
Yes. Okay. Uh, yes. This penalty was unfair, so I will. I will. You know.
Appeal it. You're gonna appeal it.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest,
Um,
would you gain anything from the appeal though? Because the gap was, I mean, you would have had to have passed him on track, wouldn't you? Because Tomek didn't get himself a penalty, at least not that I can remember. So that would mean that you'd need to have actually passed him physically on the circuit in order to get the race win. So I guess in that respect, there's probably not really much of a point.
Yes, I tried, but my tires wasn't the best. And I at last lap just tires goes off and I couldn't do anything.
Well, next week is China. Do you think you can get the win there?
I was racing with Tomek on China already in other league, and I wasn't far away from him, so I think I could fight for the win.
So what you're saying is a little bit more practice and the race win is yours, is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on your P2. You still did a very good job and you made it very exciting to say the least. And I look forward to seeing what you can do in China.
Yeah. See you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And now, the winner of today's Grand Prix. We got to talk to the man himself. Tomek, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Good. I mean, I want to touch on the qualifying. You did obviously get pole. You were only just ahead by a tenth and a bit. Was there a moment there where you thought, maybe I'm not going to get this? Because Zones was looking very quick today.
He was. I was generally surprised by him, but pretty much by the entire grid. Like with Vietnam being the new track, I expected people to be like way off the pace. But I was really positively surprised with how fast the grid was. But yeah, on the final run, where I bottled, in general, my qualifying laps weren't great, but I think everyone already got used to it. That I'm like miles off my practice pace in the actual races. But yeah, on the last lap, I was convinced that something's gonna improve because the last sector on his lap was pretty bad. So I thought he might as well just get a safe sector 1, sector 2, gain those 3 tenths in the last sector that he was missing to me, and take pole position away from me. But yeah, I managed to keep pole position, and which at the end was pretty much irrelevant because I lost P1 2 corners in. So yeah, that was worth it.
So you made the bold decision to go onto the hard tires to the end. Was that a calculated one or was it a gut feel?
It was a calculated one. Last week I was practicing for a bigger league race around this track, and I have tested some strategies, and I definitely knew the struggles of the soft medium strat, which made me convinced that it might not be the best strat. Especially what convinced me even more was the first stint where I was very strong in the last sector, and if you are strong in the last sector, that sets you up perfectly because you are like 6-7 tenths ahead at the main straight, and it's gonna be really hard to overtake you. So that's exactly what I did. I went for the hard tire because it was gonna be better from lap 20-ish onwards, and the time where the mediums were the better tire, I could do a good job keeping zones behind or within touching distance because the way I set up my car and generally my driving really fit the last sector, and that's what kept me in the game. While Zones was clearly quicker on the medium tires, and yeah, once his tires died, it was just an easy move for me, and I managed to take the win.
Now I do need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the black and white flag that you received throughout that race. Do you know what it was for?
I know a little bit, yeah.
Okay. So that's 2 races that you've had a black and white flag in a row. Are you concerned?
To be honest, whereas the Bahrain one, I completely understood. This one, I'm not exactly sure what it was for. I think it was I don't know. Was it braking for the hairpin or braking for the corner after the hairpin?
It was the lead up to the hairpin, There was a double move. It looked like a weave. Was what it looked like. So the stewards have
so it was
given
into
you
the
a
hairpin.
into the hairpin. Yeah, in the lead up to the hairpin, as he was coming into the braking zone, there was a weave. It looked like a
Okay.
double move.
Yeah. I remember that. I have actually watched it. Yeah. Will sound like a cheap excuse, but I can prove it later. That I first got hit. I think Jones just had so much overspeed on me that he touched me a little bit, and I had to correct my car, slightly weave, and that's maybe why it looked like a weave. Yeah, I'll send later my POV, and I can prove my words. But
That's
there
fine.
was no intention from me to weave or move under braking. Yeah, I hope I made it clear. But
I mean, it was
I
only a
think
black and white flag. It's not like you got a penalty for it,
yeah.
at least. So it's
But
still positive, at least.
But in general, I feel like, yeah, shout out to Zones also for having a nice and clean battle. We kept it relatively clean, and I'm happy about that.
So next week is China. Zone says he can beat you. What do you say
Oh.
to that?
I can beat him. No, but to be fair, I'm really impressed with how fast he is, and I think he's gonna be definitely a championship rival this season, and I'm looking forward to that battle. And if he feels confident about China, then I feel even more confident. And let's hope we can fight it out again on the streets of Shanghai.
Now, before I let you go, I do have to admit that I am just stirring stuff. He did actually say he's not that far off of your pace, and that he thinks that maybe with a bit of practice he might be able to have a go at you. But I like cause drama. It's what I like to do. But again, though,
get Nico back. Get Nico back. And
no, let's not have him. No. No one needs that.
Point
Okay, no one needs that. No, but seriously, congratulations on the race win. You did a very good job this weekend, and I look forward to seeing what you can do in China.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Vietnam. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. I've been Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me has been Mr. Badger himself. Thank you, mate. You are awesome. And it's been always a pleasure to commentate alongside you, because you are the Paul de Resta to my property.
I do my best, and bringing that Scottish charm to your stream.
You're like a mixture. If Paul de Resta and Ted Kravitz had a love child, that's you.
I'm all for that.
But we'll see you guys next week for the Chinese Grand Prix. Love you too, bye. But chat, I am going to call it there, because I had like 4 hours sleep last night, and I don't know if you can notice in my commentary, I kept flubbing up my words, and I'm crazy tired. So I'm sorry that I do need to go. I am obviously going to check a host to someone. We're going to go and find someone to host now. But yeah, I mean, if I did race, I wouldn't be able to drive properly. I just want to chill before I go to bed. I'm going to get an early night tonight. If you guys have got somebody... Oh, never mind. I've got someone. I didn't realize that this person was streaming. But yeah. So I'm going to go and raid the Obama Llama. If you guys could please go and light up her chat and make her feel extra special, that would be awesome. She's currently playing Planet Zoo. And she's obviously my sister, and she's awesome. So if you abuse her, you're grounded. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you guys Monday. Love y'all. Bye. Gonna get jump scare. Ready for the jump scare. You have notifications on? No.
Whoa!
I should. There you go.